Hey, welcome back to A Talk with Murdoch, Episode 1. Today I'm going to be talking about Star Trek Titan, the first in the Star Trek Titan series. This is titled Taking Wing. It's a very good start to the series. It's a continuation of the original Next Generation timeline. In the movie Star Trek Nemesis, back in the day, at the beginning of the movie, Riker mentioned that he was assigned to a new ship as captain, the USS Titan, and at the end of that movie, he was leaving to start his assignment as captain. And later on, like way later, this was a couple years ago now, they had the Titan appear along with Riker and Troy, on Star Trek Lower Decks, and it was really cool finally seeing the Titan in its glory. And I believe it was the same design from the books, because later on they also had the new Titan, Titan A, I believe, premiere on the Picard show, and it was a very different design from the design in the books. Because, very interesting, the design in the books was, okay, first, if you notice on the cover of this book, it's a very cool cover. They have, the actors and whatnot and a lot of the characters, but no Titan. They don't have the eponymous ship on there. And the reason is because if you look at the back, it says, enter the Starship Titan Design Contest. This might be backwards, I don't know. Details inside, right? Because there was a contest for a fan to design it. And in fact, in I believe the third book here? Let's see, I have it right here. No, might have been the fourth book. Let me see. Yep, in the fourth book here, they finally had the official design, and they had the actual design in there. It's pretty cool. I haven't gotten to this book yet, but eventually I will. Anyways, back to Taking Wing. Whoa. There we go. Back to Taking Wing. This was the start of Riker's time as captain on the Titan. And it crosses over to a few other series, and there's a whole map online you can find of how the books intersect. But for now, I'm just concentrating on the Titan series, because when I was a kid, I'd heard about the Titan, and it sounded like such a cool ship. Just the name itself was flippin' awesome, right? And it just sounded like really cool. And I grew up with Star Trek. My parents were Trekkies, and I would occasionally watch Next Generations, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, and Voyager. When they'd come on, my parents would watch them. I don't remember them all too much. I remember bits and pieces. I remember liking the show, and a couple years ago, I got pretty far into the Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and that series is fantastic. So I'm not a huge Trek fan, but I'm enough to know my way around. And so I wanted to start reading some more sci-fi books, and I picked the Star Trek series. And we're going to be talking about it. So to start off, I love Riker as captain. I've always liked him as a character. Like, he was a cool, suave ladies' man, And it was really cool to see him in a starting role here, which Jonathan Frakes has been wanting a Titan series for years, and several fans, I'm sure, have been clamoring for it as well. Closest we've got is his appearances in Lower Deck and Picard. But this series shows me why so many people have wanted it, at least this book. And let's get into it. So, first off, the star dates in Chapter 1 and 2 were a little confusing to me at first. I kind of figured it out. Star dates have always been something that's been kind of confusing, at least for a lot of Trekkies, as I understand. Like, it's been kind of... There is a way of reading it from what I discovered. I don't remember what it is right now, but when I was first reading this, I was kind of trying to figure out the time span between the first two chapters, because there's a little bit of a time skip, not a huge one, but the start of the book The first chapter involves a agent of Starfleet who's undercover on Romulan or on was it Romulan? What's the hold on, name of the yeah, on Romulus, I guess. And he's undercover trying to find Ambassador Spock. And because Spock is leading a resistance of sorts, not like a violent one, but a more of a political resistance with the Remans, which are a race who are native to the dark side of Romulus, if I remember correctly, or the moon. I don't remember. I think Romulus is a moon. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but the Remans were actually in the movie. They're kind of a vampire-looking alien race. They got like fangs and kind of monster-looking, and they're psychic as well. And this undercover agent is trying to find Spock, which he eventually does. And he's like, "Hey, Spock, the people, they need you back, right? The Senate, the Starfleet, they need you back because they need a report." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna stay here. I've almost accomplished my goal. We're so close. I'm staying." And he's like, "They're not gonna like that." He's like, "I don't care. Like, I need to do my job." So the guy leaves. And when Agent leaves, suddenly there's an attack, which is, if you've seen Star Trek Nemesis, it's the attack in the beginning of the movie. The gas attack that dissolves people with this poison toxic cloud. And it's like a radiation of some kind, if I remember right. But anyways, this guy gets knocked out, and he gets knocked out, and he's gone. And then it goes to Riker, and we're now on the Titan. And he's in what... Okay, the cool thing, getting to the Titan itself, the really cool thing about the Titan is its design. Not the look, but the thought process behind it. It's designed to be the most accommodating ship for a diverse member of species, because in Star Trek, there's a lot of different species with a lot of different biological needs. Like, there was one species, I don't remember the name, but I remember he had like a breather right here, like went from his chest to right here, because he breathed in, I believe, nitrogen or something, and so he needed a special apparatus to do so. And then there was another species, one of the members, she was in Star Trek Deep Space Nine in an episode, I remember, because it was really cool. She comes from a planet with very low gravity, and I believe her name is, I wrote it down here, Paslar. Yeah, Paslar. And she comes from a planet with very low gravity. So when she's on normal Earth gravity, she has a tough time walking around because of all the extra gravity on her, all the weight. So she usually goes in a wheelchair. But in her quarters on DS9, they had turned down the gravity so she could just kind of float around. It was a really cool scene, especially how they were able to do it back then. Probably some wire work, but it was really cool. And in this book, they do the same thing. Her quarters are the gravity is turned down low. If I remember right, she is part of the stellar cartography lab. Sorry, hard to say. Which is, as it sounds, mapping the universe. And they turned on the gravity in there for her to accommodate her. It's kind of cool. And then there's also another crew member who is more aquatic, and her room has if I remember right, Pacific Ocean water in it, like salt water, and it's held in by a series of force fields. It's really cool. And also, back to Paslar, her quarters is like vertical, so they had to redesign her quarters so she has more room vertically because she's floating instead of just hitting the ceiling. It's really cool how like they designed the ship to accommodate so many different people. And speaking of different species, because Star Trek is very diverse, there's the matter of the ship's head of medicine, doctor. I can't remember what the term is, but the head doctor. I don't remember. I didn't write down his what his race is called, but his name's Dr. Ree. His full name is Dr. Have it right here. It's like a really weird name because it. One moment. Okay, here it is. His race is called the Pakwathon. His name's Dr. Ree, R-E-E. His full name, and I'm probably gonna butcher this terribly, but his full name is Dr. Shenti Yisek Eris Ree. And what's so cool about Ree? He's basically an alien velociraptor, like full on, you know. And he talks very eloquently. He's so cool because, despite his fearsome appearance, he's got an excellent bedside manner, and he's just a very kind doctor. It's such a cool juxtaposition. And not only that, going with his predatory thing, he's a predator. He's a what's the word? Not omnivore, not herbivore. I can't. He's a meat eater. I can't think of the name right now, but he's a straight up meat eater, right? And he likes his meat bloody and raw. And so he gets some strange looks in the mess hall when he's eating. But it's really cool. Like, I love like how they, with the books, they're able to go a little bit further with the alien species. In fact, there's a kind of a beetle like alien in here. In her name is so cool. They call her Cha'ak, because her name, they say her name in here, but it's kind of unpronounceable by human tongue, so they kind of just call her Cha'ak. And I think it's Cha'ak or it's, anyways, it's cool. It's basically like, it sounds that's what it is. It's basically her name as far as I'm able to pronounce it. Because they had to design her lab too to accommodate, because she like spins webs and stuff in there too to kind of house herself. It's really cool. And yeah, as I said before, this book is a direct continuation of Star Trek Nemesis. It follows the fallout of Nemesis, the political fallout on Romulus, because during that movie there was an attack in the beginning, and a new Praetor has emerged, who's a half Romulan. Well, he's actually, spoilers for a probably more than 20-year-old movie here, but he's actually a clone of Jean-Luc Picard, played by Tom Hardy, a young Tom Hardy. And it was a fun movie, not the best Star Trek movie. A lot of people weren't big fans of it. I recently watched it a few months ago, and it wasn't as bad as I remember, but it wasn't as good as like Star Trek First Contact, which is my favorite Star Trek movie. But yeah, it's a fun book. And anyways, it follows the falling out, because the Senate was wiped out, and they're searching for a new leader, and there's kind of a power struggle between two leaders. And yeah, the cool thing about the ship as well, the shuttlecrafts, going with Riker's love of jazz, he named all his shuttlecrafts after famous jazz musicians, and it's kind of awesome. And the Titan, by the way, is a Luna class starship, and a lot of the Luna classes were named after I don't know if they were moons in general or just moons of the of Saturn, or no, Jupiter. Titan is Saturn's moon. So yeah, I don't know if they're all named after moons or just Titans or Saturn's moons, but that's the class. And they're made for exploration, but they are pretty well armed. And yeah, also speaking of aliens, one of the aliens, when I was reading it, his description sounded really familiar, like eerily familiar. His name's Captain Huilon, I believe. He's the one of the psychiatrists on the ship, along with Deanna Troi. And his species name is Stiach. Stiach, something like that. And the way he's described is basically he's Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Yeah, it's kind of awesome. But yeah, the also the very interesting thing is with the mission, Riker was kind of confused about why he was chosen on this mission, because originally in this mission, uh, they were going to go explore some nebula, but at like the last minute, right before, like a week before they were going to be heading out on their mission, the Titan was assigned to a diplomatic mission on Romulus, and he's like, "That's kind of weird. Why am I being assigned? I'm a first time captain, and this is a very major mission. Granted, he is quite experienced, but he's like, why me? Why not, Picard, the Enterprise? Because they're a lot more experienced. They're the flagship of the Federation. Make a lot more sense, but." Something he didn't take into account, and which Riker kind of realizes, is they don't really trust Picard because, the Praetor was his clone, and they don't really trust Picard because his clone's the one that kind of caused all the chaos in the first place. So he's like, oh yeah, so it's kind of a cool tie-in, and yeah, the another interesting thing I noticed about the book, it kind of jumps around to different people's perspective, but something I noticed sometimes is they do go by Riker's perspective, but sometimes they kind of subtly switch to Troy's perspective, and use her to kind of read his emotional state, which is, I thought, was a cool way of describing how Riker's doing in that present moment. Instead of just showing it from his perspective, she can actually like empath on him. It was cool. And another part that was great was the Klingons are involved as well as kind of a neutral party, I believe, or yeah, because they were assigned with the kind of neutral party security kind of deal with the Remans, and it was kind of cool to see them there and see Riker interact with them, because one, so many years with Worf, but also so many interactions with the Klingons over the years, and especially the scene where they're eating some Klingon food, and it wasn't gach, it was something else, and it was something like slimy bug thing, and the lieutenant that was with him, that is now his head of security, who her name was Vale. There we go. Lieutenant Vale, I believe, and she gets promoted to commander, I believe. Yeah, there we go. And she becomes chief of security. And when she goes on the mission to the Klingon ship and has supper with them, it was kind of funny to watch her reaction, because later on with Riker, he's eating in the mess hall, and he's eating with the Pac Ree, and Ree's eating some Klingon food that he got, and Riker, tries to eat with him because he's trying to sort of enamor himself to the crew, because he wants to be a bit more casual with the crew, have everyone like him and get along, and it's kind of his captain style, very relaxed, laid back, but serious when he needs to be. So he's trying to break the ice, as it were, eating with Ree, and Ree kind of feels uncomfortable because as he's eating, he notices everyone's kind of staring at him, so he's like, I'm just going to go finish my food in my quarters. And Riker's looking kind of sad, and Deanna's like, it's all right. Well, it's going to take a while for everyone to, acclimate to all the differences here. And he goes, oh, no, I was just hoping he would have shared some of his food, like, it's hard to get that Klingon food here. And I was just like, yeah, that's good, because he actually likes eating, I believe it was gach, which I don't know if I'd like Klingon food. I still want to try Rakutashino someday, even though I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but it'd be kind of fun to try. But, yeah, I thought chilling with the Klingons, that seemed a lot of fun. There's a character in there named Jazza. Yeah, everyone seems to like him. He's like a handsome, big dude, and very nice, and gets along with everybody. He's a cool character. And everyone seemed to really like him. Another really cool thing I noticed was the guy in the beginning, the one who was undercover, you find out that that character is actually Tuvok from Star Trek Voyager, and he's the one who's undercover, which is really cool because in the beginning of Voyager, he was also undercover with the Maquis, and so it's really cool to see him back in like an espionage role. It was really cool seeing him like act in an espionage role. Then he gets captured, and he's a prisoner with the Remans, who are being held by Romulans. And also, they have an interaction with I forgot to write her name down, but she was the right here, the captain who had a role in the assassination of the council in the Romulus Senate. But she later kind of had a change of heart and teamed up with the Star Trek crew, Enterprise crew, and she's kind of working with them in this turbulent time. And there's one of the head runners for the head of Senate, for the president, is assassinated, and they're trying to figure out who assassinated him because they're trying to blame the Remans, and it was actually the other guy who was running for Senate, and he's working with the Tal Shiar, a dark group within Romulus. They're a kind of a shadowy organization, kind of like a dark black ops kind of group, if I understood it correctly. They were in the Star Trek Next Generation, I believe. I don't know much about them other than what was in this book, but they seem to be kind of a black ops organization, kind of like doing the wet work, kind of stage kind of a coup, trying to get their guy into the Senate. And this is all found out, and there's a kind of a battle because something very interesting is the Romulan fleet is secretly being obfuscated by that debris cloud, I hear, because all the radiation in that cloud is disguising that fleet, and they have them there just in case the Remans kick something off or the Klingons do. It's very, very tense moment here, and they find out right when this huge battle starts between the opposing the Remans and the Klingons and the Tal Shiar representatives. They're gonna attack with their fleet, then they realize, oh, our fleet's gone. Like, where'd they go? And this actually leads into the next book later. But there's this huge thing going on. And in order to make peace during this battle, Riker goes and talks to some people, goes and talks to the Klingons, and basically gives the Klingons who are representing the Remans in this case, I believe. They're helping protect the Remans because I believe the Remans help fight in the Battle of the Dominion War, and so the Klingons kind of respect that and they're helping them out. And so the Starfleet, Riker contacts Starfleet and gives Klingon kind of Starfleet protection, as it were. So if the Remans are attacked, the Romulans are going to start a war with Starfleet, basically. It's a whole thing. So they're like, we'll back off for now. So it's a very kind of 2D or 3D chess kind of maneuver. 4D chess. There we go. 4D chess. That's the word I'm looking for. 4D chess maneuver here. And it was really cool to see Riker be like, all right, we could just battle our way out of this, but we're kind of damaged right now, so we're going to kind of do something else, do a little trickery here. And it was really cool to see. And the ship battle was just awesome. But during this battle, and they also, I forgot to mention, they go down to, because they're looking for Spock. They find out because there's a, I'm just hopping all over. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at describing this book. Next time I'll take better notes, kind of going off the cuff here. But there's a not ambassador, guy who's higher up than Picard. I can't remember his name right now, but he's head, like a commander in Starfleet or something, very high ranking, and he's the one who set them on this mission. And not only for that, but also to retrieve Spock because they haven't heard from him since the fall, and as well as Tuvok. And they go down, they find Tuvok's signature finally, his life signature, and they go down and they go to find Tuvok, and they find him with the Remans during a prison escape. And they knew there was going to be a prison escape, and while this is going on, one of the pilots that they sent with them that went on this away mission, she's pregnant, and of course, wouldn't you know it, she goes into labor while they're trying to escape, and they manage to escape and get to the back to the ship, and there's some people injured, and like one of this was really cool. During this battle, one of the guys that went down, one of the away team, I don't remember his name, but he was a what do you call it? Cadian. Cation? I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It's either Cadian or Cation. I never knew how to actually pronounce it. But they're like a cat-like species, right? Very, the dudes have like kind of very bushy, bobcat-y looking faces, but a bit gruffer. What's really cool about these guys, they first premiered in an episode of the original Star Trek animated series, and that episode was written by the author Larry Niven, who, if you're a sci-fi fan, you might know a book series called Ringworld, and there's a species in there known as the Kazin, and they're basically cat people, and he put the Kazin into Star Trek, but they couldn't call them Kazin, so they, at least, I don't remember if they called them Kazin in the animated show, but, as time went on, they couldn't call them Kazin, so they called them Cations, and that's basically where they came from. It's kind of cool. Star Trek kind of amalgamating different things. People take things from Star Trek takes things from other places. Everyone's inspired by something, and it's awesome. And I just thought that was cool. I love seeing those guys because I really like Ringworld. I read it when I was a kid, and it's a fun book. But anyways, back to this book. The commander who sent them on this mission and Spock are longtime friends, and they kind of have a tough history. They had a falling out years ago, but they still respect each other. And so he really wants to rescue Spock. It's kind of, I don't want him to die before I'm able to say sorry and apologize to my friend. And so they rescue Spock. He's a little quite beaten up, along with Tuvok, who's very, very beaten up. And they get them back onto the ship, and they're able to resolve everything peacefully. And it was just a fun book, just watching. Mostly, I really liked reading about the different species and their interactions, especially how the, once again, juxtaposition between his more predatory side of mostly how he eats versus his excellent bedside manner and his great skill as a doctor. It's really cool. And there's also a female Ferengi in there who's one of the engineers, and she's really cool too. Very kind of matter of fact kind of character. It's really cool to see, because if you especially getting into, it's kind of a continuation of Deep Space Nine. They kind of had a whole revolution within their society where Quark's brother Rom became the Nagus, and he kind of opened things up for the females of the species, gave them more freedom, and it's a whole revolution within the show, and I recommend watching Deep Space Nine because it's brilliant. But this kind of spins off that, and she's like the first Ferengi, female Ferengi in Starfleet, if I remember right. Because the first Ferengi in Starfleet was Nog, and Nog's awesome. And yeah, it's really cool, and she's a fun character. And some characters do die in the series. I won't spoil who it is, but there are some characters who end up dying during this mission, and some people who are gonna go stay, and it's really cool, and it leads directly into the next book, because at the end of the book, as I said before, that whole Romulan fleet just disappeared, and they're like, what happened to it? And at the end of this book, the Titan now is going to go explore that cloud to figure out what the heck happened to the fleet, and it leads directly into that. It's kind of cool. So yeah, that was my rambling review. Maybe I'll call it that. That's what I'll call these rambling reviews of Star Trek Titan taking wing, and it's a great start to the series. Like it's really cool to see the this kind of science aspects of it, of how the ship works. It doesn't go like too much into it, but it has like a brief explanation of some of the like engines and stuff like that. It's very like brief explanations, but it's really cool to see like the inner workings of the ship, and the interaction of diverse species that you can't really do, or you couldn't really do in live action back then. Nowadays they have a little bit bigger budgets for TV shows and better special effects, so they're able to do a bit more with less humanoid looking aliens. And it's really cool to see, and how they accommodate them and deal with the differences. It's a fun book, and I highly recommend it if you like Star Trek. And I'm definitely going to be reading the rest of the Titan series when I can. Like, I have a few of the books here and a few of the tie-ins that I'm going to be getting into. And next time, though, I'm going to be reviewing Tarzan of the Apes. So, and next time I'm going to try to be more organized. I just kind of want to get this video out, so I have trouble with putting things off sometimes. Like, I'll do it eventually, but I'm trying to get these done. Not just to get them done, but I'm trying to do these videos, but I'm going to make it better next time, I promise. But I'm going to try to be more organized and maybe write a script. I kind of like going off the cuff, because I think when I read off a script, it feels like I'm acting, you know? Not really, like saying, I mean, I'm still writing down my full thoughts, but I don't know, it feels robotic when I read off something. So I like being more off the cuff with my thoughts, but I'll try to be more organized in the future. But yeah, that's my basic rambling thoughts about this book. It was a great read, very fun, like very descriptive as well, with a lot of the characters. Like I had a easy time imagining what they look like. They did a great job describing these different like less humanoid species. Like the only one I had trouble with was the Ch'ak, the like spider-like one. They describe her as an arachnid, kind of beetle-like, but from like fan drawings I found of her, because I was trying to, I'm like, is she a spider? Is she a beetle? Like, well, what's the reference point here? And from what I found, she's more beetle-like than spider-like, but has some spider characteristics, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but she was a fun character, because while she was, a great officer, and like I think she was like not tactical, but she had something to do with on the bridge. They described her as very antisocial. Like she just like chilling in her quarters and working from there. And I'm like, that's a fun character. I hope they do more with her character in the later books. Like she seems like she'd be a fun character to learn about, as well as Ree. I like the more like crazier aliens. They're kind of cool. So yeah, that was my thoughts on the book. I hope you enjoyed my rambling, and you have a good one. Peace.